Kia ora. As Tracy said, my name is Sandra James and I'm here in the Tararua for a few weeks helping the team get the recovery program up and running. And as Leah Tracy said, this is a large event in Tararua. It might not be on the national news. We're hearing a lot about up the coast, but actually you have a very large recovery on your hands here, so I do want to acknowledge what you've all been through and what you will need to go through. Recovery is the long-term phase response. A lot of people come to help, there's a lot of activity, short-term activity. Recovery is far more complex and there are a lot of players. And I guess what recovery tries to do is coordinate the efforts of the many players. There's a lot of players at central government, regional government, local government, community organisations who do amazing work, and yourselves, the community, who are also, living this day to day and getting on with the mahi. So recovery is about trying to coordinate those efforts to all get our oars in the ocean at the same time so that we can get through this thing as quickly as we can. Sometimes we'll move backwards, we've got to acknowledge that. You had a rain event last weekend that will have caused further damage to the network. We have a very fragile network and you're going to hear a bit more about that shortly. So recovery is organised into, they call them environments, but sectors if you like, to try and make sure that those people are connecting at those points driven by what the need are. So clearly we have one that's called built environment or roading and infrastructure. So that's called built in recovery language, but roading primarily for Tararua. So all the roading people are kind of working together. Then there's one called natural, which is all the natural environment stuff, the rivers, etc., etc. And Horizons are leading that, and you'll hear from them a little bit later. We have rural, because this is a very large rural recovery in Tararua. We estimate approximately 200 farms have sustained damage. So that's a very large event. So all the rural sector are working together collaboratively to see how they can help. Social, again, we know that these events are stressful and it's actually perfectly normal for that to be. This is an extraordinary event that upsets your daily life. So there are a number of strategies to help people get through. And economic, because we know that all of this will have an economic impact on this region. So all of those streams of work are working collectively and talking to each other and joining up and trying to get everything happening in one and not be working in a silo. It is extremely challenging because there's also work happening that people are just getting on with. So that's what recovery is all about. And part of that is making sure Tararua does have a voice nationally because the scale of this from New Zealand, my colleagues up and down the country think this is New Zealand's biggest natural disaster because of the scale of it across many regions. So part of what we need to do is make sure that the Tararua voice gets heard, and that's what we're working hard at.